everyone. Today is 2nd June and we are back with another edition of Satyavan. Without any delay, let's start with COVID updates.
Thank you, Sneha. COVID updates of the day. India observed 1,27,000 new cases in the past 24 hours. Delhi has observed 623 new COVID cases, which is said to be the lowest in 2.5 months. Tamil Nadu observed 26,513 new cases in a day, while 831 were found in Mumbai. Health Ministry data shows that more than 22 crore have been vaccinated so far, and the total tally has reached more than 28 million. Now over to Surbi for some national updates.
Thank you, Aman. Taking forward national news, how the Delhi High Court dismissed concerns over the Central Vista project. New Delhi on Monday, the bench of Delhi High Court Chief Justice D.N. Patel and Justice Jyoti Singh the public interest litigation petition filed by well-known translator Anya Malhotra and the historian and documentary filmmaker Sohail Hashmi, seeking a halt to the Central Vista Avenue redevelopment project in the capital, which is a serious health hazard to its workers and Delhi's citizens in view of the current pandemic. Obviously, a claim of this nature is difficult to prove in a court of law, as it has to be backed up with instances of sections of the public demanding the initiations and completion of the project either in the media or in the public forum. With no instance of open public support for the project initiation or continuance, the respondents wisely refrained from making such a claim in their oral or written submission before the court. On the contrary, as there are several instances of stakeholders and members of the public expressing serious concerns over the project and its continuance in the public domain, it was expected that the respondents would seek to allay the concerns of the petitioners. In other words, the High Court might have been satisfied why the project is important and cannot be interfered with at this stage, because it felt that even if it did so on erroneous ground, its timely completion is of the essence. Thank you. Now moving on to Muskan for more updates.
Thank you, Surbi. IUML moves SC against MHA order inviting applications for citizenship from non-Muslim refugees. The Indian Union Muslim League Tuesday moved the Supreme Court to stay an MHA notification allowing citizenship grant to non-Muslim minorities from Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Bar and Bench has reported. The center had on Friday invited non-Muslims like Hindus, Sikhs, Jains, and Buddhists belonging to Afghanistan, Bangladesh, and Pakistan and residing in 13 districts in Gujarat, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Haryana, and Punjab to apply for Indian citizenship. The Union Home Ministry issued a notification in this effect for immediate implementation of the order under the Citizenship Act 1995 and rules framed under the law in 2009, even though the rules under CAA enacted in 2019 are yet to be framed by the government. In exercise of powers conferred under Section 16 of the Citizenship Act 1995, the central government hereby directs that powers exercisable by its registration as citizen of India under 5 or for grant of certificate of naturalization under Section 6 of the Citizenship Act 1995 in respect of any person belonging to minority community in Afghanistan, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. When the CAA was enacted in 2019, there was widespread protest in different parts of the country, and even riots took place in Delhi in early 2020 in the wake of these protests. Thank you. Now moving on to Bobby for city updates.
Thank you, Muskan. Now moving on with the city updates. Amid COVID pandemic, Kerala CM inaugurates online reopening of schools. Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan on Tuesday inaugurated the virtual reopening of the academic session in public schools across the state and urged the students to move forward together to create a new world. Vijayan, while inaugurating the Praveshnotsavam through an online function for the academic year 2021-22, expressed hope that the time that is not far when students will come to schools. Digital classes from 1 to 9 began through Kerala Infrastructure and Technology for Education Victor's channel through its First Bell portal. Education Minister V. Shivan Kuti, Ministers Anthony Raju, G.R. Anil, and others participated in the function. Due to the pandemic, this is the second time the Praveshnotsavam was held virtually. The Education Department said around 45 lakh students took part in the Praveshnotsava. Classes from 10 to 12 will reopen on June 7. Shivankuti said free handloom uniforms and textbooks for class 1 to 4 were distributed. Now over to Tanya for more updates.
Thank you, Bobby. Complete list of government and private COVID vaccination centers in Delhi. The Delhi government has released the list of COVID-19 vaccination centers. Individuals can register online on CoWIN through website or app. It is a mandatory to carry a photo ID like Aadhaar card when you visit a vaccination centers. People can also call on toll-free helpline number 1075 for more details. Nearly 9,758 people were vaccinated in Delhi in past 24 hours. So far, 53.53 lakh people have been inoculated, including over 12 lakh who have received both doses. The health bulletin said the capital on Monday reported 648 fresh COVID-19 cases, the lowest in 2.5 months, and 86 deaths. The positive rate fell below 1% for the first time since 0.90% recorded on March 19. This is the second day that the daily death remained below 1,000. On April 12, the daily fatalities were 72. Now moving on to Arus.
Thank you, Tanya. Some really important vaccination updates there. Now, moving on with the news, with the bulletin. Frivolous cases making Supreme Court dysfunctional, says Justice Chandrachud. The Supreme Court on Tuesday regretted that scores of frivolous matters have been making it dysfunctional. The bench of Justices Dhananjay Chandrachud and M.R. Shah made the remark while hearing a consumer dispute case, which was wrapped up by the court in March, but a fresh application was filed in the same matter. As soon as the case came up for hearing, Justice Chandrachud observed that the final order had already been issued in terms of what the petitioner wanted. But he chose to come back with a trivial issue. You are here now only because you want to vet some documents before you deposit the rest of the money for the house you have been allotted. What is this? This is how the Supreme Court is being made dysfunctional, he said. Justice Chandrachud added that the judges in the top court have not been able to spend enough time on serious matters because of the deluge of unimportant matters. Yesterday, I had to finalize an order in the suo motu matter on COVID-19 that I could not because I had to read up the files for today's hearings, and 90% of the cases were frivolous, he rued. We as an institution must not spend our time dealing with frivolous matters. This wastes the time of the court and suggests that we have a lot of time. Serious matters must be given time, said the judge. As on May 1, the top court had as many as 67,898 pending cases, out of which more than 49,000 cases are fresh ones that were still to be considered for admission. Less than 1% of the total pending cases comprise those for Constitution Bench. And with that, we move to Sneha for the editorial of the day.
Thank you, Arish. Education crisis in India, COVID-19 impact on social and mental health of students. The COVID-19 pandemic has irrevocably changed of all our lives since 2020. It has also affected the life and education of students. School and colleges had to close. Exams were not conducted on time due to the rise in COVID cases. Most of the learning suddenly switched to online mode. The lives of students were disrupted and filled with uncertainty. Clear communication is one of the key factors for a healthy education environment. The education gap between teachers and students has led to a delay in responding to online tasks and assessments. Students from unprivileged backgrounds have experienced disproportionate negative impact due to COVID-19 outbreak. Reduction in family income, limited access to digital resources, and the cost of internet connectivity have disrupted the academic lives of these students. It has caused a lot of mental stress in them. Students in rural areas have largely not been able to access online classes due to non-availability of technology and internet access. In urban areas too. Owing to financial constraints, many students were not able to get all the facilities for learning for online learning. There was inadequate communication between the teachers and students. Mental stress and long-lasting impact of disrupted education and COVID. Due to psychological stress, students can no longer concentrate as before. The future has become uncertain along with the closure of educational institutes, delay in exams. The decision of shutting down the school amid this pandemic and a shift from traditional classroom to digital platform is not only increasing learning inequality among children, but also pushing a large number of children out of school due to digital divide. Other than learning, the absence of schooling would also have a long-lasting effect on the health and nutrition of children. Our midday meal services have also been affected due to COVID-induced circumstances. As school and colleges are closed, the students who are more involved in physical activities like sports are almost at total rest, affecting their mental and physical well-being in many ways, including poor eating habits, disrupted sleep cycles, and other issues related to a stringent lifestyle. The COVID-19 pandemic has forced many children out of school, especially the urban and rural poor, causing many children to be relocated to farms and factories to work, thereby worsening the child labor problem. The next new months are going to be critical to ensure that the impact on students are minimized. According to the survey conducted by SV Robotic Works, an online education company, the survey finding underscored the noticeable change in behavior and habits following the post-lockdown among the school goers. Understandably, 67% of parents think that their children's screen time has gone up at least 50% during the lockdown, thereby further impacting their concentration level and leading to sleep disorders. Also, there was many protests happen in country in the regard recently in Panchkula. Parents protest shows children are already studying online and there is no expenditure of electricity maintenance, etc. And despite this, the schools are increasing fees. Parents also carried placards with messages like, "My father is not ATM, paisa nahi, 140% hike wapas lo," etc. We have to provide emotional support to students and educate them on coping mechanism and healing and how to push through hardship and bounce back, thus emerging stronger. The COVID pandemic has exposed the gap in the education system, which need to be addressed to deal with such unprecedented situations in the future without compromising on quality and access to education for all. Thank you. Now over to Ritika for Op-Ed of the Day.
Thank you, Sneha. It seems such a big issue. Moving with the op-ed. Sedition weapon. The Supreme Court's call for a fresh examination of the remit of the sedition law is enormously welcome. The apex court's observation, the cautionary notice it has struck on what is deemed as seditious, came while hearing a case in which the Andhra Pradesh government has booked two Telugu news channels under sedition under section 124A of the Indian Penal Code. The two channels have been made co-accused along with parliamentarian Raghu Ram Krishna Raju, whose speech was alleged to have promoted disaffection against the government. The observation by the highest court gained significance as a constitutional challenge by two journalists. Krishna Chandra Wanghem and Kanhaiya Lal Shukla. Against the colonial law is already pending before it. Section 124A of the IPC penalizes sedition as punishable with imprisonment ranging from 3 years to a lifetime, a fine, or both. Thank you. Now moving on to Surbhi for international update.
Thank you, Ritika. Suez Canal Authority plans canal to avoid event like the Evergreen in an effort to avoid a repeat of the event like the Evergreen, a cargo ship which was stuck in Egypt. The Suez Canal Authority has announced that it had started dredging work to widen and deepen the southern part of the canal. In March, world trade was thrown into chaos after the Evergreen, a container ship, ran aground in the Suez Canal in Egypt. It was stuck for over 6 days, disrupting global supply chains. The 30-kilometer long area will be widened by 40 meters to the east and deepened to 72 feet up from 66 feet according to the Suez Canal Authority. Plans also include extending the second lane near the Great Bitter Lake, which opened in 2015 by 10 kilometers, allowing two-way traffic along an 82-kilometer stretch. The work is intended for maximizing the canal's efficiency and shortening the vessel's transit time, as well as raising the navigation safety. Thank you. Now moving on to Harish for opening bell.
Today's opening bell, Sensex sheds 100 points, Nifty below 15,550, ITC drops 2%, PNB housing surges 10%. Following the financial news of the day, power consumption grows 8.2% year on year in May 2021, government data. Power consumption in India grew 8.2% year on year to 110.47 billion units in May 2021, as per Power Ministry data, signaling a gradual recovery in industrial and commercial demand. Experts believe the slow recovery is due to local lockdowns imposed to contain the spread of COVID-19 and power outages due to cyclones Tokte and Yas that hit India in May. Thank you. Now let's move on to Shubhankar for the cartoon of the day.
Thank you, Harish. The cartoon of the day is by Satish Acharya. Modi's version of Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas. Now let's move on to Srijan for crime updates.
Thank you, Shubhankar. Today's crime updates are as follows. Pope Francis updates canon law to address pedophilia by priests. Pope Francis updated the Catholic Church's criminal code Tuesday, adding directives on punishing sexual abuse crimes of minors by priests that have long been sought by activists against pedophilia. Revision of the penal sanctions within the Code of Canon Law followed a lengthy process involving input from canonists and criminal law experts and came after repeated complaints by victims of sexual abuse and others that the code's previous wording was outdated and intransparent. The purpose of the revision, wrote Francis in introducing the changes, is restoration of justice, the reform of the offender, and the repair of scandal. Since becoming Pope in 2013, the Argentine pontiff has striven to tackle the decades-long sexual abuse scandals involving Catholic priests around the globe. Although many activists against pedophilia insist much more needs to be done. He conveyed an unprecedented summit on clerical sex abuse in 2019 while lifting secrecy rules that hindered investigations of abusing priests, among other measures. Despite recent measures to root out abuse by priests and increase transparency, some victims say the Vatican still has not gone far enough to protect children even in the West, where intense media coverage of pedophile priests has led to greater scrutiny of church practices. Thank you. Now moving on to Kirti for more crime updates.
Thank you, Srijan. Mumbai man kills lover after argument, arrested. The Mumbai crime branch on Monday arrested a man for allegedly murdering a woman with whom he was in a relationship for a year. The accused, Bipin Kandulna, told the police that the deceased had threatened to file a rape case against him, following which he throttled her to death. While Kandulna worked at a restaurant, the woman worked as a domestic help. An officer said the incident took place at Bandra Reclamation on Sunday night when the duo had gone for a stroll. The two had reportedly been fighting during the day. According to the accused, the woman had told him that she would get a rape case registered against him when she threatened him again at Bandra Reclamation that night. Kandulna throttled her. The incident took place at an isolated spot. He left her body there and fled, an officer said. When the body was found early Monday, the local police began investigations. The local crime branch, Unit 9, that was conducting a parallel investigation in the matter, detained Kandulna. During questioning, the police said that Kandulna confessed to the murder. An officer said that Kandulna had also taken money from the restaurant owner and was in the process of heading to Jharkhand when the police team detained her. Now let's move to Agastya for more sports updates.
Thank you, Kirti, for your quite petty. It was a quite petty way for that man to kill her wife. Now, moving on to the sports updates. Badminton champion Carolina Marin withdraws from Tokyo Olympics due to a knee injury. Spain's Olympic women's single badminton champion Carolina Marin confirmed on Tuesday that she is unable to defend her crown in Tokyo due to a knee injury. Marin, a five-time European and three-time world champion who beat Pursala Vakanta Sindhu of India to claim gold at the Rio de Janeiro Games in 2016, said she has torn her anterior cruciate ligament, ACL, and both meniscus in her left knee. After examinations during the weekend and a medical consultation, I confirmed that I have torn the ACL and both meniscus on my left knee, a statement released on her social media channels stated. The preparation during the last 2 months had been very difficult for reasons beyond the team's control, but we were excited and knew that I would be in the best possible shape for the Olympics. It won't be possible. I know that I am in safe hands and I have a lot of people by my side. Now we move on to Rebecca for further updates.
Thank you, Augusta. Now, in the world of football, Manchester City ready to spend to replace Sergio Aguero, says chairman. Manchester City will spend in the transfer window to find a replacement for striker Sergio Aguero and also improve the overall quality of the squad, Chairman Khaldoon Al Mubarak said. Argentina international Aguero, City's all-time top scorer with 260 goals, will join Barcelona on a 2-year deal in July after his contract expires. We lose a very important legend in Sergio Aguero, Al Mubarak told the club website on Tuesday. They are very hard shoes to fill, but I'm confident that we will find the right player to fill these shoes. There are other areas within the group, within the team that obviously need investment. Not too many. It's not about numbers, it's about quality. One of the things I've learned over the years is you need to constantly bring in talent into the team, refresh, and particularly when you are at a high level and when you're on the top. City won the third league title in 4 years this season, finishing 12 points ahead of rivals Manchester United, but lost to Chelsea in Champions League final. Al Mubarak said City, who also won the League Cup, will not stand still despite their domestic success. Having won the league, it is not the time to sit back and be content. That would be your biggest mistake, Al Mubarak added. This is the time to send a strong message that there's no contentment, that you're not satisfied with just winning the league. Now moving on to news on education with Akansha.
Thank you, Rebecca. Now on education update. Class test board exam cancelled. PM says student safety most important. There will be no exams this year for CBSE class 12 students due to the continuing COVID-19 pandemic across the country. PM Narendra Modi said on Tuesday. The decision, he said, was taken in interest of students. Health and safety of students is utmost important and would not compromise on this aspect. A statement from Prime Minister's office said. The Prime Minister's decision came to an end of the meeting held on Tuesday on the matter. The meeting was attended by Union Minister Rajnath Singh, Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar, and Central Board Secondary Education Chairman Manoj Ahuja, besides the other officials. CBSE will now take steps to compile the results of class 12 students according to well-defined objective criteria in time-bound manner according to PMO. Thank you. Now moving on to Prisha for some more updates.
Thank you so much, Akansha. I am just thinking that all the 12th are very happy with this decision. Moving forward, Telangana, students with fee dues likely to miss out on virtual classes. Students with fee dues from previous academic year will mostly likely miss out on attending virtual classes as many schools are only admitting a student to the next class if the dues are cleared. Students are not added to WhatsApp groups and schools are making it clear that they won't be allowed into virtual classes. A private school in Himayatnagar sent out a message asking parents to clear fee dues immediately. Do the needful so that the expenses such as taxes, staff salaries, and utility bills can be cleared. Kindly avail of the online facility for payment of fees. Read the message from the school. Parents said that class WhatsApp groups, which had over 40 students during the last academic year, now hardly has 20 to 25 members, as class teachers were instructed only to add those who cleared fee into these groups. According to teachers, 30% of students of corporate schools and 50% of students in budget schools are yet to clear last year's fees. The members of Telangana Recognized School Management Association, TRSMA, also made it clear that they are not going to promote fee defaulters. Irrespective of whether a student attended online classes or not, they will have to clear the fee. Only then they will be promoted or issued a transfer certificate. If needed, we are even ready to organize bridge course for a couple of months to brush up last year's concepts, said Shekhar Rao Y, President, TRSMA, adding that about 80% of students studying budget schools have fee dues from last year. Thank you. Moving on to Akanksha for Science and Technology.
Thank you, Trisha. Solar Eclipse 2021 date. Timing, get ready to witness Ring of Fire. The first solar eclipse of 2021 will take place on June 10. This celestial event comes a few days after Skygazer witnessed 2021 lunar eclipse. The annual lunar eclipse will happen when the moon will block the sunlight and cast a shadow over Earth. However, Indians will not be able to witness the rare cosmic phenomenon, as eclipse will be visible from parts of Canada, Greenland, and Russia, as per NASA. Those who are based in Canada, North Ontario, and north side of Lake Superior will see the solar eclipse. It will be visible to Canadians from about 3 minutes. When the solar eclipse will reach its peak, then people living in Greenland will be able to see the Ring of Fire. After that, it will appear in Siberia and North Pole as well. Countries like US and India will not be able to see the rare celestial event, but East Coast and Upper Midwest people will get a glimpse of it after sunrise. Solar eclipse event will begin at 1:42 p.m. and will be visible to people until 6:41 p.m. The second solar eclipse of 2021 will appear in December 4. This celestial event will not be visible in India, similar to the annual solar eclipse. Thank you. Now moving on to Vidya for some entertainment updates.
Thank you, Kansha. Entertainment update. Sanjay Dutt remembers Mother Nargis on her birth anniversary. There's nobody else like you, Ma. On Nargis Dutt's birth anniversary, her son and Bollywood star Sanjay Dutt took to Instagram to pay tribute to the late artist. Sharing a few throwback photos of the Dutt family, Sanjay simply wrote, "There's nobody else like you. Happy birthday, Ma." The post received likes from Dutt's colleagues in the industry like Abhishek Bachchan, even as Dutt's own daughter from his first marriage to Richa Sharma, Trishila Dutt, posted several heart emojis. The photo featured Sanjay, Priya, and Narmata Datta seated beside their mother, while in another photo, Nargis held a very young Sanjay in her arms as Sunil conversed over the telephone. In the last image, Sunil and Nargis Dutt are seen wearing cute birthday caps as they smile for the camera. Nargis Dutt was a national award-winning film actor who was largely seen in the movies of the 60s. She is most well known for appearing in the acclaimed movie Mother India. Nargis married Sunil Dutt in 1958. The couple had 3 children together, Sanjay, Priya, and Namrata Dutt. Nargis died of pancreatic cancer in 1981, merely 3 days before her son Sanjay was to make his debut in Bollywood with the coming-of-age drama Rocky. Now moving on to Sneha.
And that's all for today. Thank you everyone for joining. We'll be back tomorrow with another edition of Satyamani. Till then, stay safe, stay home.